Good evening, everyone. My name is Craig Walker, and I am the manager of Fife College Student Association. I shouldn't need to write that down, but I have. I'd like to extend a warm welcome to a very hot room from everyone at the FCSA and Fife College to our wonderful Carnegie Conference Centre. Thank you for taking the time to join us today in person or online for what we hope will be an engaging and lively session with our fantastic panel of young people. These young people have come from all over Scotland, even from as far as Stornoway, so we stuck them right on the edge of the table there. And they are all excited to share their experiences and opinions on Scottish education with you. We are delighted to have Amy from Fife. I thought you'd get a round of applause. No? Yeah, exactly. Iona from Stornoway. We have Dami from Glasgow. Applauding yourself, well done, very good. Ashley from Dundee. And Ciara from Clackmannanshire. We also have Cameron and Devon with us today. They are part of the Scottish Learning Festival Young Person Think Tank. They've been meeting regularly with the festival organisers to support the planning and evaluation of this year's SLF. The discussion this evening will be facilitated by Liam Fowley. Liam is a former member of the Scottish Youth Parliament and is currently training to be a home economics teacher. Liam will open and close the session. Now, near the end of the discussion, he will invite questions from the in-person and online audience. I'm sure everyone can agree that we're very much looking forward to listening to the important messages these young people have to share. So without any further delay, over to you, Liam. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Good evening. Now, I've been entrusted with a phone, an iPad and a notepad, so this isn't going to go well. And I feel like I've got to make a humorous joke about the heat in the room now, because everyone else has. There's now freezing cold air blowing in here, so it's freezing. So, fun and games. Cool, yeah, as mentioned, I'm Liam. I've been entrusted with a lectern this evening, probably for the last time, and I'll be chairing the session with these brilliant folks to my right. You've already met them, so I now need to remember all their names, and we'll get started pretty quickly, I think. So they've got a couple of preemptive questions, kind of top line stuff, just to get the conversation going. Fire in if anyone's got any questions. We are going to have a chat, and the idea is you're basically watching us have a chat, I think, just to keep it kind of informal. Going to be a frank discussion, good bits, bad bits, and all that sort of stuff, but of course respectful as well. And yeah, as questions come in online and democracy plays its action, I'll see what questions pop up here as well. So I'll get fired off with the first one, which is potentially quite a big one, so buckle in. What has been your highlights from your time in Scottish education so far? So would anyone like to go first, or am I going to be really mean and pick someone? I'm going to be really mean and pick someone. Fantastic. Cameron, you're looking there, very positive. Yeah, push it down until it goes red. There you go.
I think that one of my main highlights is being a part of most of the clubs at my high school, and just being able to talk to different people from different year groups and things like that.
Fantastic, like to hear it. My iPad's been confiscated, I've obviously broken it already. It was back, smashing. Cool, so we'll move on. Dami, do you want to fire in next?
One of the highlights for me was getting head boy, having to go around my year group and speaking to a lot of people I wouldn't have spoken to before and getting to know people on a deeper level and stuff like that, yeah. Fantastic.
Good position, head boy. Round of applause for Dami on achieving that. Fantastic. Loving it. Fantastic. So I'll move on next to Iona, perhaps.
Ben rudan a chuirde im sear as a scáil a bhí gáil páirstán san dealamh chluich a haispan na scála spisin The Wizard of Oz agus chuirde im a bhí Shine agus bhí Cleinsin chu duine eile agus a miad de Haaland a bheas a scáil. So my highlight was being a part of the school play, which was The Wizard of Oz, and I really enjoyed being able to sing in front of an audience there and build up confidence and also hear all the talent in the school.
Love it. Thank you very much. Ashley?
I've been given a lot of opportunities within my school to do things for my community and start campaigns and help girls around the city. So that's probably been my main highlight, getting to help other people.
Love to hear it. Youth-led action, the most powerful one out there. Fantastic, cool. Go next to Kira.
One of my highlights during my school career so far is being able to be part of the mental health champions, which I trained for last year, and it'll hopefully lead me on to have bigger leadership roles in school within the next few years.
That's what I like to hear. There's someone just sitting a couple of seats along that could advise you on leadership positions in school. Fantastic. We'll go next to Devin and then Amy.
My highlight from my school career so far has been probably a member of my pupil parliament in my high school, which I've thoroughly enjoyed so far.
Fantastic. Love it. Love to hear there's a strong pupil parliament in school as well. A great asset. Fantastic. And then Amy.
I think one of my main highlights is being involved with the Sports Ambassador programme and being able to deliver and empower students to get involved with health and wellbeing activities throughout the school.
Woohoo. We're off to a cracking start. We've had empowerment, we've had leadership, we've had skills. The buzzwords are flying, and it's fantastic that they actually mean something, which is fantastic. I'll fire it out to the audience if anyone has any questions at the moment. Oh, hand straight up at the back there. Fantastic. We've got roving mic people as well. I was meant to say that at the start, sorry.
Hiya, my name's Gemma and I work for the Open University. My question's around all of the brilliant things that you've mentioned about getting your voice out there and being included in kind of decision making and things like that. And there's lots and lots of chat about that at the moment. But what, in your experience, works really, really well? What makes you feel like your voice is actually being heard?
Cracking question, if we consider the last session. Does anyone fancy going first? Cameron, love and enthusiasm.
I think that with our exams coming up, our supported studies, like the teachers will ask us what days would be suited for us instead of just picking a random date.
Fantastic, great. Anyone else fancy answering that? Devin, go for it.
I think as well with pupil parliament, there's the head teachers and principal teachers involved with that, and they always make us have a say in what kind of happens within school.
Do you feel, Devin, that when you're giving your opinions at a pupil parliament, they're listening? Are they going to act on that? Do things change?
Yeah, I think it's a big kind of thing for them. They like to listen to what we're going to say, and they like to take it on board, pretty much. So yeah.
That's great. It's great that you feel like you're being listened to as well. There's a really important distinction there between being heard and listened to. So that's a great example. Anyone else fancy? Ashley, go for it.
Yeah, when teachers kind of take the time to implement what you've actually put forward to them, it can be as simple as just answering an email that you've sent them, but that doesn't always happen. So when they actually take the time to ask you about what you need done and how they can do that for you and take an active interest in what you need, that's kind of how we feel more heard than anything else.
Love it, fantastic. Anyone else on the panel got any thoughts on that one? Go for it, Dammy.
I feel like it's mostly just to basically pick up off what everybody else said, listening when having conversations with students and stuff like that. Because quite a lot of the time, especially people in my year, they'll come to me and be like, you want this, you want that, I'll give it to a head of year senior leadership team, and then nothing happens for like 2 months, and then people come to me and said, you're supposed to be helping us do this, and I'm like, they haven't responded to me. It's like, having conversations with people, responding, taking it seriously. Like, sometimes people feel like, they see us as just kids, not as young people. And then they stop. It actually makes people fearful to, ask for things and talk about things. So just listening and actually taking it seriously.
Cracking, thanks very much. Anyone else fancying chipping on that one? No? Fantastic. Cool. Some great things there. And I think when we put that in the frame of the last discussion that we had with the two professors and the Cabinet Secretary up here, it was really great. I did write down a quote halfway through because I thought it was quite useful that I wanted to repeat it here, that this is one of the discussions we want to take place. And I think it was Alma that said, this is about children and young people. This is their discussion. Their voice matters most. And I think that's really key, is what you just mentioned there, is it's their voice, your voice that matters most. Cracking. Has anyone else got any questions, either online or in the room? No, cracking. I've not got any. Oh, I've got a hand up. Fantastic. Love that. I feel like an auction person here. This is great.
Hi, my name's Jim Duffy from the Awards Network. It's fantastic to hear that all of you highlighted extracurricular activities when you were asked what your highlights were. I just wonder how you feel that the learning that you've and skills you developed through all of these extracurricular activities are properly valued alongside your academic qualifications.
Cracking. Brilliant question. Anyone want to crack in first with that one? Go for it.
I think that the opportunity to represent people at events, represent ourselves at different events outside of school and being recognised through leadership programs to then implement change to younger students. Also, I think that's how it shows recognition through extracurriculars.
Do you think a lot of people enjoy the kind of leadershipy stuff in schools, or?
Yeah, I think in my school, I think it is enjoyed quite thoroughly because I think when you reach the senior phase, people like to see their change being made, and they're implementing change for younger year groups to then do the same thing.
Absolutely. Who better to implement change than those that have been through it? Anyone else want to come up on the question there about societies? Anybody fancy it? Do you want to give me an example of potentially their favourite club or their favourite post-school or lunchtime sort of activity they do, and how they think it's benefited them? Devin, go for it.
I'd say again pupil parliament, because it's kind of gave me more confidence to talk to teachers and kind of get that change kind of implemented to kind of help students. But yeah, definitely pupil parliament for me.
Brilliant, love that. And I think it's good that you've mentioned that there. I think we're quite lucky in Scotland. We've got teachers that are really receptive to change and listening to you, as you've all mentioned, which is great. Anyone else want to come in that before we move on? Go for it, Ashley.
I quite enjoyed being part of the Rights Respecting Schools club in school, because it was important to kind of see what our rights are and how we can kind of implement them during school and help kids realise what they deserve in their life and in their school life, respectively.
Love that. And obviously you'll have, school qualifications as you go through. Do you think that knowledge on rights supports you quite well going through later stages in life?
I'd say yeah, because it's important that we know what we deserve and our basic human rights, not just within school but in our lives anyway, and I think that really sets us up for success in the future.
Brilliant, love that. Cool. Got an online question, which I think is quite interesting, and it's come to the top, which means I assume democracy's done its thing and it's well liked. If you could speak to your 10-year-old self, what advice would you give? Now, that's quite a chunky one, so feel free to take some time to think about it. Amy, the hand was straight up. Go for it, man.
Stop stressing.
Love it.
When I was 10, it was like, I was thinking, oh, I'm going to go to high school. It's going to be really hard. It's going to be the rest of my life. And it's like, when you get there, it's like, calm down. You got, there's so much still to do. You're still growing. There's so much still to learn about yourself, so just, take a minute, enjoy the moment. Don't stress about the future. The future's still going to come.
Love it. That was cracking. Anyone else want to add into that? Oh, all the hands are up. Devin, we'll come to you first.
I'd say to my 10-year-old self to kind of be more confident. Don't let basically anyone knock you down, and kind of take everything in your stride and just try and be the best you can.
Brilliant. Oof, it's very inspiring all of a sudden. Who else wants to come in? Sorry, I should have been noting this down. Amy, go for it. I'll work my way along.
To embrace every opportunity you're given, because you're more likely to regret something you don't do than regret something you do.
The goosebumps are coming on, yeah. Kira, go for it.
To continue to try your best in school, no matter how hard something is, because even if you don't do as well, you'll have tried your best, and each thing that you do throughout that year will impact you positively the next year, and it'll keep getting easier as you go on.
I love it. Good message and resilience there. I think that's fantastic. Ashley, go for it.
Ask more questions. The amount of times I didn't get the information I needed because I was too scared to ask because of what somebody else would think about me. I could have done so much more, and I've done a lot now because I've learned that. But if I hadn't learned that, I wouldn't be sitting here. So, just chill out and ask. It's fine. Nobody's going to care.
Absolutely. And I think with questions, there's probably a 9 times out of 10 probability there's about 5 other people in the room thinking the same question. So, yeah, that's a very good message. Iona, I feel like I've left you out on this one, so I'll bring you in to full circle it.
I think I should have not been ashamed of liking the things I did, like the subjects and stuff I enjoyed. I think I should have just admitted to liking them instead of like agreeing with other people and, I don't know, talking bad about subjects when I actually enjoyed them.
Absolutely. Oh, right, cool. It's all. Oh, that was very, very positive. So I'll go to one more online. I'll come back out to the room. Very good question here that I was going to ask myself, but we'll ask it now. We'll have a longer chat about it. What would you want to see differently in education of your own children, should you choose to have them? So, big question there again. Feel free to have a think about it. Does anybody want to crop in? Ashley, go for it.
I'd like to see more support for children with autism and ADHD and other learning difficulties like that, because, you know, a lot of both my sisters are autistic, and if I have children, there's a chance that they will be too, and I think that they deserve to be represented in the same way as everybody else is, because they're no less people. They deserve to be educated and treated the same and given that support that they deserve.
Absolutely. I think there's that common decency of respect there. Yeah, there was a clap there. Can we clap for that? I like that. Fantastic. Anyone else got one? You go for it, Cameron.
I think I'd like to probably see certainly one of the classes take a note of like how to do taxes properly, because I don't think that schools teach properly how to manage your money after school.
Yes, very good. The joy of tax. Yes, that's the one. Very good point. No, very well made. Anyone else fancying chipping in? Go for it, Amy.
Kind of leading on from what you've said, maybe introducing the introduction of like career ideas before going into 6th year to kind of get our mind kind of going on what we're going to do in our futures, so it's more stress-free when we hit 6.
It can be quite overwhelming, can't it, when you get to that kind of stage and there's acronyms and things kicking about UCASs, what does that mean, you know, so that sort of thing. So I think it's a very good point about what your options are and having that chat early on. Fantastic, cool. Anyone else want to pop in? Cameron, go for it, yeah.
I'd like to see more schools do certainly what my school do, where, because our school's got a local park nearby, there's like a group of different teachers where you can, if you're struggling with anything mentally, you can walk around the park with them for 25 minutes. It doesn't go to anyone else, it's just a conversation between you and the teacher. So.
Wow, what a fantastic initiative. Yeah, that's brilliant. I think mental health is definitely something that's at the forefront of everyone's minds there as well, and I'm sure we'll get on to that later. Does anyone else want to pop in on what you'd want to change in education? No, that's fantastic. We had a good chat with the Cabinet Secretary earlier about it. We mentioned a few things as well, which is great. Cool. I'll maybe piggyback off of that one with another question here. What advice would you offer a first year beginning their journey in secondary education? We've spoke about you at 10 years old. Let's say you're kind of at first year going into second year. What would you tell somebody in that book? Go for it, Cameron. Yeah.
Getting involved in as much clubs as you can, even if your friends are not doing it. I think just being able to know different people in different groups, and maybe if you don't like the club, you might like it eventually. So.
Fantastic, love it, brilliant. Ashley?
Yeah, kind of similar. Don't be afraid to make friends. Like, you'll never know if somebody will like you until you speak to them. And if they don't, they don't. And if they do, then you might have a new best friend for life. So just speak to people.
Absolutely, love it, great. All the hands are flat. Devin, go for it.
Yeah, I'd say kind of be yourself. Obviously, don't be afraid to kind of put yourself forward for things, and just kind of, yeah, just don't be afraid to ask any questions or anything. So, yeah.
Cool. Damn it.
I would say really try and engage with every subject you take at school, because I know a lot of people, even me myself, sometimes I won't engage as much in a subject as I should have, and then I'll find out, wow, that was the subject for me. I really like that. So when you're in first year in my school, you do at least one period of every subject a week. So really engage with everything, because you never know what there could be a career path. You can end up winning a Nobel Prize. So
love it. Aim high. That's it. Anyone else want to fire in on that one? Kira, go for it.
Try to get to know as many people as you can, and teachers as well, because you won't know what opportunities and friendships and things that you might create if you don't try and get to know other people.
Fantastic. And then Iona?
Fiachgan tuku dive glei vaklori to hicharin, or son higher sunken jenny and a magiatin and I'm gonna. So make a good relationship with your teachers because you want to maintain a good relationship through the rest of your school career rather than a bad reputation.
I like that. Don't let your reputation precede you. No, very good point. And teachers are quite nice, aren't they? In real, yeah, there's a lot of, yeah, fantastic. Cool. So, any questions in the room? Hand right up at this side. I feel like I've got to continue the whole score thing.
Hi, my name's Suzanne. I'm with Skills Development Scotland. I know this has kind of been touched on a little bit already, but as young people at various stages of your education journey, how well do you feel your time at school has prepared you for exploring the world of work and what is out there? And what would you say we needed to do differently, if anything, to help improve that?
Cracking question there. Anyone fancy coming in? I'll go with Ashley first, give you some time to think about it.
I've just started university, so they'll think the high school makes university out to be this giant, scary thing. I was terrified, and they make it out to be like the be-all and end-all. It's not. I was there, and I went to my first English lecture, and the amount of times they said, what you did in English in high school, don't ever do that. That sucks. Really, they don't prepare you for university properly, I don't think. They make it terrifying and they teach you the wrong things.
Shout out to all the English teachers in the room. Woohoo. We love you, we love you. Anyone else want to pop in on that one? Devin, go for it.
I'd say for me, there needs to be, I'm in third year right now. So when I was coming in from P7 to first year, it was during 2020, so the lockdown, COVID, and there wasn't really the transition there to kind of show me the subjects that I really liked and what I thought I would kind of go for in the future. But I'd say that obviously that couldn't be helped, but I think there needs to be something there for people that are struggling.
Absolutely, that's a good point. I think everyone at this table will be sitting thinking, when you look back on education in 20 years' time, the big defining part of that will be COVID and the impact that had on yourselves and your learning as well. Fantastic. Anyone else want to pop in on that one? No? Cool, fantastic. Great, okay, so got another question online here. What are your own dreams and how has education supported you in that dream? Really difficult questions, aren't they? They're being quite mean. But anyway, anyone fancy going for that? Only if you feel comfortable sharing, of course. No? Yeah, fancy it? Ashley, go for it.
Sure. I kind of want to do a lot of activism work in the future. I want to, in my own way, try and make the world better if I can. And if I can help one person have an easier life, then I will be happy with myself. And I think that the school and education has actually supported that quite a lot, because with my campaign that I was in and a lot of the things I did with that, they guided me through it and they gave me opportunities to teach other people about their self-worth, what they deserve, what they can do and what they can achieve. And yeah, I think I've actually had quite a lot of support in going forward and helping people
excellent
be
news.
happy.
That's what we like to hear. Good way of doing that would be being an English teacher. They're quite good at supporting. Anyway. Anyone else on the panel fancy sharing? It's all right, we can circle back. That's cool. I think one of the most defining parts of your time in education, as well as COVID, would be your teachers. And there's been a lot of mention of teachers because they are the ones that are in your classrooms and helping you learn. So, question is, was there a member of staff, we'll go with general staff because there's a lot of staff in schools that support you in learning, did any staff at your school experience who've had a positive impact on you? If you want to share stories, go for your life. Loads of hands up, notice that, fantastic. Dami, go for it first.
One member of staff that I know really affected me was my primary 6 teacher. I know it's Miss Patterson, but now she's Miss Foster. It's been a few years in it. So she really helped me when I was in primary school. I was good at schoolwork as a kid, but I never really did anything more with that. But she identified that. She really pushed me. She gave me Percy Jackson books to read, and that I really enjoyed that. And I never, that led me into lots of other things that I enjoy. And even through high school, her effect is still on me. I still really try hard in class. I still go find things that I enjoy. I still read books. So yeah, shout out Miss Patterson. She's the best teacher you could ever have.
Go to Devon next.
Yeah, the one member of staff that really had a positive effect on me was my going back a bit, but my primary free teacher, Mr. Armour, and he kind of encouraged me to helped me kind of figure out the things that I liked and the things that I didn't like, but he kind of always gave me encouragement to kind of go for what I wanted to do. But yeah, he was just always there for me, so I was,
Love it, fantastic. Anyone else? Cameron, go for it.
One member of staff that's had a really positive impact on me was one of my pastoral teachers, Mr. Maybury, and he just, in the first few years of school, he always just told me just to go for what you want to do, and don't be afraid of anyone else. And
love it, fantastic. Kira, go for it.
My S3 admin teacher made a really positive impact on me because she always made every lesson really fun, encouraged us all, and rather than like being a teacher who always was just telling us what to do instruction by instruction, she made it more of a friendly environment, and it was probably one of the classes that I learnt the most in throughout my high school year so far, and she's led me on to do a higher in admin this year instead of an S5, so I think that was quite good.
Oh, fantastic, sounds amazing, not just quite good, sounds amazing. Ashley, yeah, go for it.
Yeah, my computing teacher, Mr. Dunning, he never let me stop believing in myself, even when I really didn't think I could do anything. He basically told me to shut up and believe in myself. And sometimes that's what I needed to hear. Just, what are you talking about? You're being dumb. And yeah, he meant a lot to me, actually.
Fantastic, that's great. Iona, do you want to come in?
Habe ich mir auch gedacht, ein Teacher wegen meinen Mathematics interesse brianna huk bheis mu aram agus bishin Mr. Donaghy sé díach clásca mas spáirseáil agus sé fér go má brosnacháil mis nacháil bhain agus ha mis mu gedacht sinne bhar ha a bhuaich mí gun do chóirt mathsraim agus a ga an duine bhí cáinegar go matríc sé ruta ha mi go má ha cordam gomór. So my third year maths teacher, Mr. Donaghy, had the biggest impact on me, I think, because he was really motivated all his pupils, and it was a fun classroom environment. And I think he's what made me realise that I really do enjoy maths, despite everyone quite often talking it down.
Love it. Fantastic. And then, of course, Amy.
I'd say my S4 geography teacher, Mr. Carter, made a massive impact on my education because he always saw potential in me, and he taught me how to study properly and effectively, and I think it stood me in really good stead for the future, and I still feel his impacts today, and yeah, I just felt really motivated and reassured whenever I was in his class.
Love it, that's fantastic. Instantly you all thought of that teacher, and that's the impact teachers have in our classroom, so it's a great example there. Thank you very much for sharing your stories. Anyone else in the room got any questions they'd like to ask folks on stage? No? Nobody? Okay. Shout out to Leah Watson, who's obviously the question queen, because there's loads of questions from her, which is absolutely fantastic. Thanks for sharing it. Oh, is it you? Oops. Okay, that's great. Love it. Thank you. That's it. Cool. Anyway, it's all downhill from here. So, Leah, wherever she is, has asked a very good question, which I'd written down as well, so great minds think alike. If you can use 3 words to describe what school should be, what are they? 3 words. They don't have to be related, but now, quite a difficult one. Cameron, go for it.
Can I ask you a question? Does hard working count as 2 or 1?
Ooh. Any English teachers in the room? I think it's 1, isn't it? Yeah. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, it's 1. Was that one of them, Cameron? Was it? Yeah, all right, go for it. Go for the other 2.
3 words I'd use would be hard working, enjoyment, and let's go for a random one. I can't think of another one, actually.
It's difficult. Forget words when you're on the spot.
Hard working can be 2 words.
Right, hard working. He's putting a hyphen in there. Cool. Anyone else got their 3 words? Yeah, go for it. Devon?
Enjoyable, nurturing, and
It's difficult, isn't it?
Challenging.
Challenging. I love that. You said nurturing. Now, there was a slight gasp in the room there because that is a very key word in Scottish education. So it was great to hear. Anyone? Ashley, yeah, go for it.
Safe, welcoming, and motivating.
Brilliant. Love this. Anyone else? Very difficult to think of words, isn't it? I could pick on you, but that's very mean, I feel. Okay, I'm not going to pick on you. Amy, you're looking at me like you've got 3 words in your head. I've got a couple, that's cool.
Inclusion, a chance to develop yourself, and determination.
Like it. 3 thoughts there from Amy. Cool. I like that. Dammy, go for it.
I would say fun, empowering, and challenging.
Fun, empowering, and challenging. Love that. Empowering, keyword. Cool. Anyone else? No? Okay, I won't put them on the spot because vocabulary disappears on the spot. I appreciate that. That's great. Fantastic. So I'll circle back round to your experiences kind of in S1, 2 and 3, for example. You've gone from primary school, you're trying to fit in a lot. So this would be probably messages to learners. What do you think about peer pressure and what that kind of influences you, be that social media, be that groups, the playground, whatever? How does that impact your education? If you're concerned about the social side, do you think that's impacting your education? Do you think it doesn't? Do you think I'm talking nonsense? That can be an answer. Dammy, go for it.
I know that in primary school, I was really like outgoing, bubbly person. I came to high school, only 2 people from my primary school came to the same high school. So from S1 to S3, I was very, very self-conscious of myself. I was like very conscious of the way I looked, the way I acted, the way I spoke. So that did affect me a little bit throughout, that initial period. But after that, I realized that nobody actually cares. That just be yourself, talk to people, be a nice person. And lots of people are really nice people as well. So, yeah.
Absolutely. Be yourself. That's a very key message there. I love it. Anyone else got thoughts on that? Yeah, Ashley, go for it.
I feel like peer pressure affected me, but not in the way everybody assumes. Everybody assumes it's like, do this. But for me, it was more, don't do that. That's weird. Why would you do that? Or why would you raise your hand? Because nobody does that. And there was a lot of things that I think I missed out on because I was too scared people would think I was really weird for it. But actually, if I'd just done it, I might have really enjoyed myself. So, yeah.
Absolutely. No. Devin, go for it.
Yeah, I kind of agree with that point. Peer pressure isn't just, do this, do that. It is, don't do that, don't do this, don't do that. But yeah, there was a lot of things that in kind of S1 and 2 I kind of missed out on. I didn't miss out on, I had the opportunity, but I didn't really take it. But because people would say it was weird, but this year I kind of started to realise that just kind of do whatever I think's good, and people, if they're nice people, they'll just realise that's okay.
Oh, cracking, loving this. Anyone else want to share any thoughts on that? Iona, go for it.
I think for young girls especially, there's a lot of social pressures caused by social media about the way they look, which is really daft because they're really young, and it's just people are expected to look very perfect at such a young age, and I think it puts a lot of pressure on young girls when they should be more focused on learning and shouldn't have to worry about things like that.
Absolutely, should never have to worry about things like that. Absolutely, cool. Anyone else want to share any thoughts or more thoughts? No, fantastic, cool. Cool, yeah. So I'm going to circle back again. I like doing that. It's my favourite phase, you'll notice. To COVID, shudder, and your time in education during COVID and the experience that is. Very unique, could be one way of doing it, one way of saying it, because you're one of, well, I say few, there was a lot, but you were one of the few folk that were being educated during COVID in a time when there was no instruction manual on how to educate during COVID. So maybe some reflections on your thoughts of COVID, good bits that maybe we should keep, or bad bits that should never return to the face of Scottish education again. So yeah, have a think. Ashley, go for it.
Personally, learning from home didn't really work for me. I like having the teacher in front of me to explain it. I can ask more questions. I felt really awkward speaking over Zoom. It didn't work for me. But what I would say is I really liked the fact that coursework was put more towards your final grade for the SUA. I think that a lot of people say it, but your entire grade shouldn't be dependent entirely on 2 hours in one day. It should, at least in part, be down to the coursework you've done throughout the year, because if you put in all that effort, have one off day, and yes, you can appeal, but it doesn't feel as good to see that reflected on your certificate at the end of the year, as you're not doing as well as you know you could have and you know you should have. So I think that part of COVID is actually really good, and I think that should be implemented in some form now.
Don't feel you have to share here, but have you got kind of experience of putting in a lot of hard work over a year and then that not coming back to an extent?
Unfortunately, yes. I got A's in all of my advanced higher English work, and I was so stressed on the day that I got a C, which is still a pass, but for me, I cried because English was my thing, and I did so well the entire year and then didn't, and it sucked.
I can imagine. That's put a lot of hard work in, and then you see that on a certificate. It can be quite, self-defeating. So, well done for going to university, etc. So that's the win. Anyone else got any reflections on that? Devin, go for it.
Again with kind of lockdown learning, I think the Teams calls was a big no-no for me. I didn't like it at all. It was just, I'm the same. I like someone in front of me to kind of, like, almost like, I don't know, like, I need, like, to ask them, am I doing it right? And then they need to tell me, yeah, you're doing it right, to make me feel kind of satisfied doing my work. And I kind of struggled not having that. So, yeah, I just stopped. Stop the team calls. Don't do them ever again.
Scarred by Microsoft Teams, yeah. I know the feeling. Yeah, it's a general shudder in the room as well there, Devin, so you've hit the nail on the head. Dami, go for it.
I think over lockdown, trying to do learning over lockdown, there was a big lack of motivation for me. Because as soon as we go on the Teams call, you just be there, the teacher be trying to explain stuff, the mic could not be working, she'd ask a question, everybody's in their houses behind a black screen, nobody says anything, and then you hear a ping on your phone, and then you're there for the next 2 hours. You don't hear anything that's said, you don't get any work done in the class, and yeah, being in class for me is like, I like the work environment, so I like to keep like my work and my home life separate. If I go to school, I know I'm gonna do work, I'm gonna do this and that. But doing it from home, it was just, there's a clash and it just didn't work for me.
Very good reflection, fantastic. Cameron?
I think for my school, certainly it was very good because we use Google Classroom. And our school had like a set timetable for the period, and we'd also, I think once every week, we'd have a 50-minute period where you could just like go outside and like there wouldn't be any work set. But I think with Google Classroom as well, the teachers were always on Google Classroom all day, and if you were struggling with any work, they were always like there and would reply in like less than 10 minutes.
Fantastic, that's what we like to hear. Cool. Kira, come to Kira first.
I feel like I managed to get a lot more work done during a day being within the COVID restrictions than what I do nowadays, and I had a lot more motivation being at home. However, when we did hand in work throughout the day, we never really got any communication with the teachers at all, and we weren't sure what was right or what was wrong, and all we could do is just more work. And I think there was maybe only one or two of my teachers that did do Zoom calls, which was really beneficial in comparison to the rest of them.
Yeah, fantastic. Sorry, I'm terrible for remembering who had their hand up. Amy, did you have your hand up? Yeah, sorry.
I think I'm similar to Kira in the fact that I found it, in a way, I think there was less distractions at home because I had the opportunity to kind of design my own schedule when it came to studying and getting work done. But I also agree in the fact that I think it was difficult to get valuable feedback from teachers because we weren't there in person. So I think that's quite important.
Brilliant, love it. Devin?
Again, circling back to what Cameron said about there was like a timetable for him. That my school, exact opposite. There wasn't. It's an app called Show My Homework, and it had all the tasks that you had to do. They didn't give you a time period to do it. They just had to do it and hand it in by like the end of the week, which I thought was a bit strange, but that's the way they did that. So.
Fantastic, Devin. Iona, do you want to pull on with it?
I really didn't like learning from home because I was just watching videos, like video tutorials, instead of getting a teacher, basically. I just seemed very distant, and you couldn't get much feedback. It would have to be like sending a picture of your work through an email, then waiting all day, and you've basically forgotten what the question was about. So, yeah, it wasn't for me.
No, absolutely. I think what that discussion there showed is how different it was for everybody, and whoever is making the education reform decisions, I don't envy them, to be honest with you, because that's a really difficult one to strike, that everybody's got, they enjoy different bits. So for those of you that mentioned that, you preferred having a teacher in a classroom, or you didn't like the teams or whatever, did it make you appreciate going to school more? Did it make you think, actually, school's all right? Cameron, go for it.
I mean, I think that for seeing your friends at school during classes and break and lunch is good, but see, when you were at home and you didn't need to see people you don't like, it was quite good.
Frank and honest discussion, as previously mentioned. Love it. Anyone else want to come in? Amy, go for it.
I know I said I was less distracted and things, but I think I definitely appreciate now the opportunity, like you said, to be with my friends and interact with my peers more, because it just gives me a much greater appreciation to spend time with people. Yeah.
Absolutely love it. Devin?
As much as when pupils are in school, they think, "Oh, this is hell. I can't wait until we go home." I think being in the classroom with your friends, with a teacher, it makes you appreciate having that. So I was so glad when we got back to normal.
Woohoo. Demi?
I think that teachers are woefully underrated, because you'll be in class, the teacher will get on you for not doing your work, they'll be trying to teach the class, they might get angry because somebody's not listening, but when you don't have them, life is tough. Life is tough. Life is tough when you don't have teachers. Teachers are really good at their jobs. Yeah, teachers are really underrated. We need to really, talk about our teachers more. They're really good guys.
Round of applause for our underappreciated teachers. Love that. Cracking. Anyone else got any thoughts on that? No? Okay, fantastic. That's cool. I'm going to stick with a COVID theme, if we don't mind. There was a lot of information that was out about COVID. It was quite a confusing time, but it brought out a lot of discussions about well-being and, physical well-being, mental well-being, and things to do. Do you think you've learnt some things from that time about your own well-being, if you wish to share, or do you think that there was good things there? Do you think schools think more about well-being now? Do they not? Any thoughts on that? Huge question again. Sorry, team. Devin, go for it.
I think teachers and other staff have kind of become more aware of it, and have kind of tried to help students to try and if there's anything up, they'll take you outside and have a conversation with you. But I think it's made a difference with COVID. So it's getting better. So yeah.
Cool. Anyone else? Ashley, you go for it.
I definitely think that there's more awareness and people are talking about it more, but I'm not quite sure if it's enough yet, because I think a lot of people assumed that when COVID was over, mental health just kind of went back to being not really as big a deal, and a lot of people have lasting problems from COVID and had these problems before COVID even started, and so they need that continued support. It didn't go away when COVID did.
Absolutely. Anyone else got any thoughts on that? No. Okay, fantastic. That's cool. So we're getting on with time, actually, and I'm conscious I'll get in trouble if I run over. So I will come back out to the audience. Does anyone else have any questions they'd like to ask our learners in the room on the spot? No? Okay. Oh, hand up. Love it. Yeah, go for it. We've got a running mic now. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you all for coming today. It's been really great to hear from you. I was wondering about that point about mental health, and I know it's an interesting topic, and I don't want to force you guys to answer any questions you're not comfortable with. But I think it's a really interesting point that you made about how it's kind of been dropped lately, and I was wondering if, what is it that you see the role of education being in sort of supporting your mental health? What can we actually do that's active to sort of make sure that our learners are actually, more resilient and, are better prepared to sort of face, life, which is difficult in a lot of ways. I just wanted to know if you had any thoughts, because you seemed like very well-rounded individuals, and I'm sure you've got plenty of opinions.
Love it. Anyone got immediate thoughts? Ashley, go for it.
Yeah, I think mental health as a whole is kind of talked about, and we all know what it is, and we know the different types, but nobody really bothers talking about coping mechanisms. I think that would be a really important thing, even if it was just one class, a term, on these are the things you can do, these are the people you can go to. It doesn't have to be directly within the school. These are organisations, these are breathing techniques, little apps that you can use, but I think that that's really important because people know what it is, but then they don't know how to deal with it, and I think that's a really important part of it.
Absolutely. Key point there that mental health exists, so we have to be able to cope with it. You go for it, Cameron.
I'd like to add on to that point about in my school every week, like for certain year groups it's a different period, but we have a thing called pastoral where, so it's like alphabetical order of like surnames, and you're put into a class and it's the same class until you leave the school. Basically it's just a period you can talk to, so every teacher gets assigned like a different class, and you can just sit and talk to them for 50 minutes like for the week, and if anything's bothering you, you can tell them about it, and then they can forward it on to either your head or the head of the school.
Fantastic. Sounds like a great initiative. I think what that allows for is, I think we probably all agree, it's sometimes good to just have a rant, isn't it? You know, just have a bit of a shout about what's not going well, and someone being there to bounce that off of can be really, really useful. So it sounds like a great initiative there. It's fantastic. Anyone else got any thoughts on that question there? It's a big question, to be fair. It's all right, we love those sorts of questions. That's great. Cool, fantastic. I think what all these questions are allowing us to do as well is kind of in the room and online have a think about about that as well, which is great. That's what we want. So I'm going to close the round off because I've got 5 minutes left, and I'm going to ask them all a question. So we've obviously had a chat that we were sat there listening to the talk about the national discussion and things like that. Obviously sounds quite exciting, I think. Maybe I'm just a bit sad, but it sounds really exciting, and it could be really powerful. So with that, we've kind of mentioned it a few times, but something you'd want to change about that. What would you want to tell people? There's people in this room, there's people online, there's people that are going to watch this back that have the power to make a change on your behalf. They are the decision makers. What do you want a message for them to stick with them as they make those decisions? What message do you want to give them? Now that is a big question, right? And I'm aware of that, so I'm going to give you a couple of seconds to think about that. I'll do a wee ramble. I'm joking. I just want to say thank you very much for the invite to come along. I want to end on these statements rather than myself. So thank you for coming along. Thank you for coming online. Thank you for watching back, and thank you for listening to one of the most important parts of the Scottish Learning Festival, because we're all about learners, aren't we? So there's definitely an important part there. So we'll go along the table with these statements, and hopefully decision makers will sit them on a post-it note next to their computer perhaps, or just keep it in their mind. Would anyone like to go first with that mammoth question? Ashley, go for it. We'll work up the line that way.
It is what we just said, but I want more recognition about mental health and coping techniques within schools to help learners work their way through their education without having to worry about what's in their head.
Fantastic, love it. Kira, go for it.
I would like to change the mandatory subjects that we have to take when we're doing exams, because certain subjects that we have to take don't quite lead up to the things that we want to do in the future, and like it just doesn't work out fully for what we want to do, even though we have to take them.
Cool, go for it, mate.
I think broadening the range of subjects that we can study at National 5 would be able to provide more opportunities without limiting our future options, and it would be a good opportunity to maximise the capabilities of all students in Scotland.
Great, Dammy.
I think that because I know a lot of really smart people who do really well in first year, second year, and third year, but by the time they get to Nat 5, it's like they could have done exams earlier. Like these guys are phenomenal at certain subjects, some biology, some chemistry, physics, and maths. These guys could have really pushed themselves. In first and second year, it was more just primary school work we did. These guys could have really pushed themselves and could be in uni by the time they're 15, or find other things they could branch out into because they finished school earlier. And I think that if we can find a way to really help these guys, embrace their talents, then it'd be really great.
Probably just setting us up for life properly, like teaching us the things that we need for when we if we're renting our first flat, how to pay taxes properly, and things like that probably.
Excellent, Devin.
Bringing it back to the point about the mental health, I think we need to change the way we look on it. I think there needs to be more support with people that, things like, I'm just going to say it, but things like depression, people that don't know that they actually have it needs to be helped there, and then to be kind of shown, that's okay to have this. You need to be shown you can deal with it like this, and just always to have help there for them, no matter what.
Absolutely, and Iona.
Ha mis mé cin an scoil am hín chu barach teig so duine ha fulan le buriach son. Ag bhína chenne mis mé go bhfuil mór an ga duine agus bh mis féin ruútan drochruútan mar sin chenne mis mé go cáil an sem chuide really. So I think there should be, in my school anyway, a stronger stance taken on bullying and people who are experiencing bullying. So I think they should be given the help they need.
Fantastic. Well, better note to finish on. A round of applause, please, for 7 keynote speakers.